The first time I saw Linda Chapman standing on my porch, the wind was hurling snow sideways, one of those blizzards where the world goes white and silent, except for the roar of the wind, and in my case, the putter of my brand new snowblower. I just finished clearing my driveway, feeling that quiet, simple satisfaction you get after hard work, when she appeared like some kind of Arctic apparition, wrapped up in a designer coat already caked in snow. Her blonde hair tucked under fur and her lips pursed in the kind of determined smirk you only get from someone who absolutely believes she's in the right. I should have just walked inside and locked the door. If I'd known how much chaos was about to roll downhill from that moment, maybe I would have, but, hindsight and all that. She called my name Marcus Atwood, loud enough to cut through the wind. I cut the engine on my snowblower, yanked down my balaclava, and tried to muster up some neighborly warmth. "Linda, what on earth brings you out in this mess?" I asked, like maybe she was there to borrow a cup of sugar, not upend my entire year. She didn't mince words. She gestured at my freshly cleared driveway, then at the frozen wasteland swallowing up everyone else's. "That machine," she said, "should be for the benefit of all residents. The HOA board agrees it needs to be shared, maybe even donated for community use. Not borrowed, donated." As if my $2,500 snowblower just weeks old was suddenly community property because she'd decided so. Now I work hard for what I have. I got that machine with my Christmas bonus after years of shoveling until my back screamed. "That's not happening, Linda," I told her. She got that look, chin up, eyes narrow, quoting bylaw this and subsection that, reading off her phone in the middle of a blizzard. Supposedly residents could be required to share resources in an emergency. And wouldn't you know it, the county had declared a state of emergency. I tried to keep my cool. "Linda, that's for like power outages, not because folks don't want to shovel." She wasn't hearing it. "I'll be bringing this to the board," she said, marching off in boots that cost more than my monthly mortgage. So that's how it started. A blizzard, a snowblower, and an HOA president who'd never seen a line she didn't want to cross. And me just trying to keep my sidewalk clear and my peace of mind intact. The next day I found myself trudging to the community center through snow that still blanketed most of the driveways except mine and a few others. I'd helped Mrs. Patterson, who's pushing 80 and lives alone, and the Johnsons, who both work nights. That to me is what being a neighbor means, not mandatory resource sharing dictated by someone with a clipboard. The meeting was packed. Word gets around fast when there's controversy, especially if someone's threatening to seize your stuff. Linda sat at the head of the table, flanked by her ever-agreeable board Patricia, who nods at anything Linda says, Robert, the quiet accountant, and Deborah, the retired teacher with an unfortunate tendency to go along to get along. Linda banged the gavel like she was presiding over Congress. "Some residents," she declared, "have access to equipment others do not. We must address these inequalities." I raised my hand. "Linda, you want my snowblower?" "The answer's no." "Can we move on?" The room snickered, but Linda's glare could have frozen the coffee in my cup. Patricia piped up, "The president has administrative duties, like I just insulted the Pope." Robert surprisingly spoke up. "The bylaws only require sharing in emergencies where lives are at risk." "Thank you, Robert." Deborah pointed out that any bylaw change would take a majority vote and a month's notice. That's when Linda pivoted, suggested a special assessment to buy a snowblower for the whole community. $150 per household. The place erupted, people shouting, "We barely get snow. Where's the reserve fund? What happened to last year's surplus?" Suddenly everyone was a forensic accountant. I pressed her about the finances, and Linda, sensing a mutiny, abruptly adjourned the meeting. But Robert caught me in the parking lot. "You should request a financial audit," he said, barely above a whisper. I heard what he was really saying. Something wasn't right. Winter rolled on. More snowstorms, more opportunities for Linda to snipe at me now, online in our Facebook group, making vague posts about selfishness. Not naming me, but everyone knew. Sunday morning I got a certified letter, $500 fine for unsightly snowblower tracks ruining the neighborhood's aesthetic appeal. I actually laughed. This was her move, tracks in the snow. I called Derek, my old college buddy, now a property lawyer. He listened, then said, "Marcus, this isn't about snow removal. This is harassment. Dispute the fine and demand a financial review." So I wrote a letter, notarized it, sent it by certified mail. Linda's response was to show up on my doorstep with Patricia in tow, face flushed with anger. She tried to defend the fines, the snowblower drama, the whole circus. I told her calmly as I could, "If you keep this up, I'll file for harassment and abuse of authority." She stormed off, but the battle lines were drawn. She sent more fines, trash cans visible for 15 minutes, a non-approved doormat. Then out of nowhere, a notice of a lien on my house for $1,500 in unpaid assessments. Now she was threatening my credit, my property. That's when Derek and I went full scorched earth. He filed suit against the HOA, not just to remove the lien, but to get Linda removed from the board. He explained HOA presidents have immunity for official duties but not personal vendettas. If she's been embezzling, she's on the hook. A few days later, Robert showed up at my door with a folder. His hand shook. "Marcus, I started looking into the finances. There's a problem. I think Linda's been embezzling. These companies she paid, Mountain View Landscaping, Alpine Snow Removal, they don't exist." I checked. $65,000 gone. Fake invoices, phony contractors, Linda's name on every check. We went straight to the police. Detective Martinez, calm but fierce, took our statement. "This'll take time, bank records, subpoenas, all of it. But we'll get there," she said. Meanwhile, Linda still controlled the board. Derek found a loophole in the bylaws. A special meeting could remove a board member with a 2/3 homeowner vote. We needed 20% to call it easy once word got out. People were furious. By Sunday night, we had more than enough signatures. Linda's reaction was to fire off an email calling it a witch hunt, blaming me for orchestrating division. Neighborhood Facebook exploded. Patricia defended her. Deborah sent me a quiet thank you for bringing things to light. Wednesday, someone slashed my tires, all four. My security camera had gone dark the night before, sabotaged. Cops took a report, but I had a pretty good idea who was behind it. Saturday, the meeting. The community center packed, people buzzing, tension so thick you could cut it. Linda showed up with a lawyer, dark circles under her eyes. Robert called things to order, laid out the evidence. Linda accused him of fabricating documents. Robert calmly laid out the bank statements. I stood and told everyone about the police investigation. The crowd lost it. When the vote came, hands shot up, almost everyone except Patricia and a few others. Linda was out. Afterward, Linda's bluster finally deflated. She stormed out, lawyer in tow. Her little kingdom collapsed. The local news picked up the story. I sat on my porch watching kids ride bikes in the melting snow, wondering how a simple snowblower had led us here. Monday morning, Linda showed up at my door. No lawyer, no entourage, just her looking small and broken. She handed me a handwritten apology. Admitted to harassment, the false fines, everything except the embezzlement. Her lawyer probably told her not to go there. Why now, I asked. She said, "My lawyer says it'll help when the charges come, but I also realized you were right." She even confessed to slashing my tires, said she'd pay to replace them and was turning herself in. Standing there, I realized I didn't feel like gloating. I just felt tired. "Your driveway is still buried," I told her. She looked surprised. "I can't afford to hire anyone," she said. I told her to wait, then cleared it myself. Not out of forgiveness or friendship, just to show her what real decency looks like. In the weeks that followed, Linda went to jail, took a plea deal, 18 months in county restitution probation. Deborah took over the HOA, made things transparent and fair. The stolen money went back to real improvements, pool repairs, playgrounds, stuff that actually mattered. Life drifted back to normal. Mrs. Patterson's granddaughter moved in down the block. I warned her to read the bylaws and keep an eye on the board. One summer afternoon, I got a letter from Linda. She was taking therapy, learning about ethics, working in a library in jail. Didn't ask for forgiveness, just wanted me to know she was trying. I didn't reply, but I didn't delete it either. Football season came, snow returned, and so did that feeling of community. New neighbors, Michael and Sarah, asked for help clearing their driveway. I did it, no payment needed, just a hot chocolate and a chat. That's what neighbors do. Spring arrived. Linda, looking 10 years older and a lot more humble, stopped by to thank me. One last time, told me she was working for a nonprofit now. I wished her luck, really meant it. I felt closure. Looking back, it started with a snowblower, but became something else, a fight about dignity, decency, and the slippery slope of unchecked authority. My neighborhood woke up. People cared. Accountability returned. I learned something that year. It's not the rules that hold a community together. It's the choice to be decent, to help, to stand up when you need to, even if it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it means helping someone who really doesn't deserve it. Sometimes it just means refusing to give up what's yours because principle matters more than convenience. As the sun set over Lakewood, I cracked open a beer and toasted to lessons learned. The HOA was fixed. Linda was rebuilding. My snowblower sat in the garage, waiting not for orders from above, but for when a neighbor really needed help. That, in the end, is what community really means. So here's my question for you. When is it right to stand your ground and when is it better to just let things go? Where's the line between protecting yourself and helping the community? If you've got a story or an opinion about power justice or just neighborhood drama, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear how you see it.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.